Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast. Real people doing real deals in real estate and no fake gurus allowed. We bring you the best and the most real estate investors in the space. They'll be showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly of real estate investing. Like, share, subscribe, get notified. It's the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast, and today we have a superstar in the house from Dallas, Texas, or Fort Worth. I don't know. Dallas?
Yeah.
Donovan Ruffin, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, brother.
Absolutely, man.
It's been a pleasure to have you here. I recently met you at the actually the first time I met you was at your event, at the event.
Yeah.
I attended in Dallas, which, by the way, is badass. If you guys are, if you're not plugged into Donnie, go to what's your group, Donovan? Texas.
Texas Real Estate Investments Facebook group, or you can Instagram me, Donovan Ruffin, the Donovan Ruffin.
Right.
Yeah.
And make sure you look him up, because he's got a great event that he does once a quarter. And he brings a bunch of rock stars. I go for the partying. I love it. It's a great environment. It's a great location. But anyhow, thank you so much, Donnie, for being here today. Tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Where do you come from? You know, your background, pretty much.
Yeah, man. So my name's Don. I grew up in a small town outside of Toledo, Ohio, north, and moved to Texas back in 2011. So I've been here for a little bit, finished up high school. After high school, I immediately got to sales, got into direct sales, and took that pretty serious. Ended up starting my first marketing company when I was 20, and my old boss and I partnered up and became business partners, and we did pretty well. We did that for quite a bit, and it taught me a lot about building a business and developing people and what have you, and eventually started investing my profits in the real estate market, and it's kind of where I found more of my passion and more equitable interest in my time. So I've been in the real estate game early 2015 up till now. Now we have a rock star team here in Addison, and we do deals virtually all over Texas. We do quite a bit of volume. We close a couple hundred properties every year, and looking to continue to grow. So it's kind of my story.
Good deal, man. So what was after you got out of high school, you said you went in business for yourself, right?
Right.
What were you guys selling in that company? What was the product? Or
yeah, so we were actually selling cable door to door. So anywhere from AT&T, Verizon, Spectrum, and eventually we got into the B2B sales, and that's when we started making quite a bit of money. Is business owners tend to have more money to spend than homeowners. So we ended up opening 10 different sales offices around the country, and just hiring and training and recruiting top level sales reps, essentially go door to door and business to business, and sell data cable services.
What got you interested in real estate?
Man, it was just obviously, like anybody else listening to this, it's always super intriguing. I love being able to go in, renovate properties, resell them, make money, obviously. But I was just pretty inspired by, the amount of money you can make and how you can develop it into a business, just the lifestyle, essentially.
Okay. And now, was that something you maybe saw on TV, or did you go to a seminar, or did you know somebody that was already doing it and you're like, maybe what that guy's doing, I'll do it? How were you exposed to it?
Yeah, so actually my dad was pretty heavy into real estate investing before the last market crash in 2008. He did really well. So I was always inspired by the lifestyle he was able to, achieve, and, the money he was able to make. And then, obviously he's parted ways since then, but that's kind of where I got my little bug. And then one of my buddies actually got involved in wholesaling, and I saw him have success with it. And, obviously the belief level just went through the roof once I saw him actually close his first deal. It was like $18,000. And I was like, man, if this guy can do it, then I'm going to run laps with it. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so originally you got into wholesaling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you do all kinds of other things. You
Right.
not only you do wholesaling, but you wholesale, you fix and flip.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that journey from like when you got on your first deal, right? Like
Right.
how did it look like? What do you do, and how do you grow from there?
Yeah. So when I said it was investing money into real estate, I was actually investing money into bandit signs when I first got started in marketing. So I ended up doing 4 or 5 wholesale deals. And then I transitioned into fix and flip. So, I mean, I was always super prideful when I would sell a deal to an investor. I'm like, man, this guy's making all the money. I'm making pocket change compared to what he's making. So, I started learning, the numbers and where they're getting money from and how they're buying it, how they're structuring it, their contractors. And then after I closed my 4th or 5th wholesale deal, save some money up, and then started raising private money to go and buy deals from other wholesalers. And I was still having my marketing company at the time. And what I realized was it was a little bit easier for me to make less net profit by buying it from wholesalers and agents versus sourcing it by myself, just because I didn't have a lot of time. And that's kind of how I ran with it. So essentially my business model was raising private equity or private money, and then going and networking with wholesalers and agents in my market and buying their deals, paying them assignment fees. And then I would just go in and do a rehab and then sell it for retail.
Got it. So, but you were also a wholesaler, right? So you were also
Yeah.
marketing for your own deals.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I never stopped doing that, but I was able to do more volume by, being able to raise private money so I could buy other people's properties. So I was kind of doing both of those. To be honest, I wasn't doing a lot of wholesales for a lot of years, up until maybe 2.5 years ago, when I shut my marketing company down.
Okay.
It's mostly, rehabs.
So, all right. So you started as a wholesaler. Then you found out that, hey, if I take these properties down myself, I'm gonna plug myself into a bigger spread. Then you start scaling raising the private money and also networking with wholesalers,
Yeah.
putting those two together, and then you started developing basically a dispositions outfit for now these properties that you were taking on. Now, were these properties, were you wholesaling or were you fully rehabbing them at the time?
At that time, I was fully rehabbing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were going out in the market, HGTV type,
Yeah.
the backsplash and all of
Yeah.
that. And how many deals do you think you did your first year in business?
My first year in business, I did maybe 7 or 8 my first year. And then it was like my 3rd or 4th rehab where I had all the confidence in the world. I was like, man, this is a pretty good system. Literally had the same construction crew, same type of, rehab products, same paint. And I would just do the same process through every property. So all I had to do was essentially run numbers, put the deal together, and then put everybody else to work and make it happen. And I was buying probably 3 or 4 properties a month, for a good couple of years. So I would hold, like I would own maybe 10 houses at a time on average, between buying and selling them, on the market. And this is like completely, quote unquote, part-time while I had my whole other marketing company.
Yeah. So I guess something I'm taking away from this, right? Hearing you talk about it, this will resonate with a lot of people that have a job, because
Yeah.
if they have a job, because in my opinion, your marketing company, even though you were an entrepreneur and you own your business, that was your job. Your job was your main, source of income for a little while you got going in the real estate business, and then
Yeah.
eventually you pivoted into being more heavy because you're still on the marketing side. You just probably don't call it like that because you're
Right.
marketing for sellers, you're marketing for. I mean, you're doing all kinds of things. It's not for door knocking for services anymore.
Right.
It's to buy properties, pretty much,
Yeah.
right? So if you have a job out there, guys, and you're listening to this podcast, if Donovan did it, you can do it as well, right?
Absolutely.
He had a main business that provided income for him, just like you do. If you're an engineer, or if you're an accountant, or or whatever, and you just work for another company out there, you can start doing this part-time. Yeah, one thing is, I guess, to your advantage is you own your time already at that time.
Right.
So you could go look at these projects at any given time that you decided, which is maybe a little different from the one that's employed by someone else, but it's
Right.
still doable. I did it very similar to you, but it took me a lot longer. When I started in 2008, I was a solopreneur all the way to like 2000, probably 13. And I bought all these properties while I had a job, all of
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
my main job provided for a W-2, which I got paid well, by the way. I'm not a corporate hater. I tell people all the time, you should work for a corporation at some point so you can learn systems and
Yeah.
and HR and things of that nature. But I was that guy that was working with a full-time job, building a rental portfolio, flipping some houses, until I got put in a position to where I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go do real estate full-time now.
Yeah.
Um,
That's exactly what happened.
yeah. And you started in so you've only been in real estate, quote unquote, 6 years, because you started in 2015.
Yep.
But your growth has been huge, because
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of things. You're doing volume. You're doing you're taking down a lot of properties. So you started with a full-time business that you had that eventually transitioned into a full-time real estate business. How was that transition? How did that happen? Like, at
Yeah.
what point did you say, man, I think this real estate thing is actually paying off better than my original business?
Yeah. So I remember it was like early 2018, and I was just doing my taxes with my CPA, and he pretty much told me, he's like, for since 2016 all the way to 2018, I was literally plateauing. Like I was not making anything more than the previous year. And that would drive me crazy, right? It would drive me absolutely bonkers because I'm so competitive. I'm like hungry to grow. I'm putting in all this work to just do more and more and more. And I kind of realized where, I'm not going to get more unless I sacrifice something, right? So it's kind of it's biblical essentially. It's just God's not going to provide more blessings to you unless you come to the altar with sacrifices, and that's what I had to sacrifice. Is what, I'm going to make a decision to pick one of these, and I was kind of looking at like the next 5-10 years and the quality of my life, and I didn't see myself in that marketing company in the day to day in the next 5 years of what I was doing at that time. So that's when I made the decision. It's just like, it's not only fair to me, but it's not fair to the people that are working for me, because I'm only giving them 50%, right? So the people in my marketing company, I'm only giving them 50% of my energy, 50% of my time. Same thing, my real estate company. So ethically, it was something that I knew I had to do. Emotionally, it was pretty tough, just because I built something that took years and years of time to build, and people that I've really developed and put my energy and time into. And I had to sacrifice all of that to be able to prosper in the real estate business and continue to scale and grow, not just in business, but in my life as well. So yeah, it was like early 2018. I just made the decision where it's just like, you know what, I'm really going to find ways to really figure out the direct marketing approach so I can talk to sellers directly and essentially take my talents to real estate 100%. That's kind of what I did. I built systems for, a good 6-7 months. And I had solid KPIs where I was just, it was like clockwork. I was doing, quite a bit of volume, and I had confidence to just shut my marketing down completely and just completely exit that company. And just went full-time real estate.
Were you getting any mentors at the time when you're making that transition?
Absolutely. That's at the time. I was like super opposed to like mentorship groups and masterminds and events. And I remember in 2018, I just started going to everybody's events. I started going to every mastermind, hired some coaches, and really figuring out the best in the industry to figure out what they were doing for marketing and how they were structuring the company. And it obviously gave me a lot of confidence to just, go out there and make it happen for my own business.
Yeah, especially when they're showing you that they're doing it as well, right? So there's proof of concept from them.
Yeah.
For a guy like you, if you see somebody do something, you say, well, he doesn't have to be better than I am, or vice versa. I can do what he does. I just need to implement what he's doing.
Yep.
And we all, at the end of the day, we give it our own twist, right? We tweak and pick certain things. I'm pretty sure I remember you talking about Podio at one point, and I'm pretty sure the Podio you got right now, you gave it your own twist
Yeah.
from whoever you got it from originally,
Right.
or when you were exposed to it, because that's just what we do. We we always give it our own twist. So anyhow, 2018, you go full time real estate. Um, Once you make that transition, you start networking, you start going to all these events, getting other mentors to lead you the way. How was that growth deal wise for you, and what was that scaling look, how did that look like from your perspective?
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember when I completely shut my marketing company down, it was pretty quick. I was going from, 3 to 5 deals a month to, I was doing, 10, 12 deals a month. And this is, late 2018. And I mean, it was pretty structured. I had averages for each, acquisition rep, averages for each disposition rep. And I was average, each acquisition person was bringing in, 3 to 5 closed deals a month. And at that time, I only had 3 of them. So we were rocking, and I ended up hiring a disposition team, and um, you know, and it was working. And then I eventually hired a transaction coordinator to just deal with a lot of the paperwork. So by the time 2019 hit, I had a team of a solid, 5, 6 people to help me. We're doing, 10, 12 deals a month consistently going into 2019.
And this is only in Dallas, or by that time have you gone out to like other cities?
At that time in 2018, I was pretty much just focused on Dallas. And then going into 2019, we opened up Houston and San Antonio.
And that's when you started branching out to other cities, basically.
Yeah, that's
Have
when we
you
started
have you
going.
tried going outside of Texas at all?
Yeah, so I mean, we've done beta tests in a lot of different cities. I mean, we've tried, a lot of them, a lot to name. So I mean, we're in LA all the way to Florida, just beta testing certain markets. And what we found that worked best, with the system I mean, there's so many people in Texas, it's just gonna be really hard for us to saturate just the state. So we're like, the type of person that we talk to, like when the reps talking to them, they're able to relate to people in Texas a little bit better. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I've learned that concept in my marketing company as well. Like when we promote, leaders to different markets, it was always easier to stay in the same region. And that's why we kind of just stuck to Texas. We were making money in different markets. It was just kind of like all over the place. It was hard to, bring a rep in, train them in all these different markets around the country. And it was a lot easier to bring reps in and just train them on Texas. So I think that's when we made the decision to just, really start hammering out Texas is like mid 2019.
Yeah, Texas is its own country, right? So
Yeah,
we have so many people here. You don't have to leave Texas to build a very solid business.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, so I completely get it. We do stuff in Florida, but we're pretty much um, settled there too. Like for
Yeah.
us, like Tampa is like an extension of Houston to me. Is the
Yeah.
cities are so similar. Construction is very similar. Like whoever built Tampa must have been involved in building Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, because it's the same houses.
Right.
And we're also in Atlanta, but that's probably where we would say, other than Texas,
It's still a
where
bit different.
yeah, and North Carolina and South Carolina, we've done deals there, but we don't have volume.
Yeah.
So okay, so what does your business look like today, right? Because you went from wholesaling into flipping, from flipping into
Wholesaling.
into back into wholesaling, right? And now you're wholesaling. So now you're flipping, you're wholesaling, you're wholesaling, you're flipping, and you're also developing, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So but what does that look like today? What kind of deal flow are you handling?
Right now we're closing anywhere from 25 to 30 deals a month on average closed in the bank. Now, obviously, since we're all virtual, we contract anywhere from 35 to 40, but title issues and
Yep.
killing contracts, it happens. And we have 6 acquisitions now, 3 disposition agents, a transaction coordinator. Then I have a VP of sales and a director of sales to help. So we have a pretty solid team here in the office. But yeah, we do wholesale. Wholesale is probably about 50% of our business now. We do a lot of wholesaling, some fix and flips, and sub twos, and then development. So what essentially we have a pretty solid system when we actually close on the deal. So like if we pick it up from another agent or a wholesaler, what we'll do is obviously raise the money for the purchase and the rehab. And then we'll just essentially just list it on the market as is with our potential profits attached to it. And then we'll give it, 2 or 3 weeks. And if it doesn't sell, then we'll just go in and do the rehab and just list it for full rehab. And that's kind of how it works with, the wholesale and fix and flip over here. And then development, to be honest, we're working on our second project right now. Last year we did a tract of 22 lots in Fort Worth. Wasn't too big of a project, but it definitely took some time. It took about a year and some change to get it, completed from A to Z. But we made some money on it, and now we bought 22,000 square feet of land in East Dallas, and we're going to build anywhere from 17 to 22 condos in a really developing area. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting that to see the evolution of the wholesaler, right?
Yeah.
The wholesaler starts banging to get that one contract, and a few years later, now you're developing, condos and land and things of that nature. Because now
Yeah.
you're immersed in real estate. There's so many different things to do inside of the real estate world. It's
Big
insane.
time. Yeah, there's there's like 80 different ways to make money in real estate.
Yeah. So, anyways, so let's talk a little bit about education. What do you think you spent so far in your own education?
Man, probably close to 300 grand now. And I took my education really serious. Early 2018 is just, it's something that I was opposed to for a long time, like I said, but I went to a couple, seminars, quote unquote, and it wasn't just the information that I was learning at the event, but it was the people that I was surrounding myself with, and especially the higher end ones. I remember, paying 30 grand to attend a mastermind, and there was like 10 other people in the room that paid the same, 30 grand, and the thinking level of that group of people was way different than who I was surrounding myself with, just because, hey, if you can afford 30 grand to go to a mastermind, you're not broke, it took you a certain level of mindset to be able to, be financially in that position. So that really helped, is just being around winners in the industry. And I mean, I pretty much I still to this day try to go to as many events and masterminds as I possibly can be a part of, regardless of, who's throwing it. It's something that I take super serious, because as a leader, what I learned is if I'm not learning new information, then I have no information to give out to my organization. And that's where I learn a lot at these masterminds, not just by, the event itself or what have you, but the people around there too. Plus, I'm able to connect with these people, like if I have questions or issues in my business, or if I, have a deal in their market or whatever, I have, national connections because of the people I met in these masterminds.
Yeah, you're buying into a whole new network. You're buying into information that's right at your fingertips whenever you need it, right? Because when you see somebody that paid 30K for a mastermind, or 25, whatever the cost is, you take them more serious, because you're like, you know what, this person is actually investing in themselves as much as I am. So we're both here for many different reasons. Your reason might be different than the other person, but at the end of the day, now the level of consideration when it comes to, talking to people, or giving out information or receiving information is going to be much higher.
Right.
Because that person was there paying as much as you were, in order to receive maybe the same information that you both received during the mastermind. So I agree with you 100%. It's I had very similar limiting beliefs as when it came to education in the past. I would say, man, I don't see why people do have to go pay, I don't know, fortune builders or whoever, $25,000 for education when all that stuff is free on YouTube. But that's my own limiting beliefs that a certain time is when I understood us that, you know what, it is worth paying for that education, because they are giving you a shortcut to a lot of lessons learned, and what to do, what not to do, what to look for, lenders, contractors. There's so much behind the education, other than just education, that now I get it. I'm like, okay, I see why people. Actually, I wish I would have paid for one of those educational programs sometime in 2008.
Yep.
I didn't have anybody showing me how to do it, so I kind of like I forced myself into the real estate world, and I learned on my own. I paid the streets big time.
Same, man.
Right, because you don't know. You get these contractors, they take advantage of you. You give them a check, you never see them again. So that, in a sense, is education as well, right?
Right.
But if you go to an educator that got their stuff together, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people out there that are selling education that have no business in selling education.
Yep.
But if you are, looking for someone that is that you want to learn from, then go make sure you vet the people that you want to learn from before you go pay. That way, you verify that they're legit, that you verify that they're actually doing real estate deals, that they've done real estate deals in the past as well, quite a few of them, and that they are the real deal. So that's why I wanted to touch up a little bit on education, because you mentioned a couple of times that you didn't believe in it at the beginning, but then you started thinking that I was the same way.
I mean, like essentially kind of how I see it now is I was buying into networks. I was buying into a group of people that the mentality was way higher. I've even done something similar. I joined a country club last year, paid 30 grand to be part of this country club. And, the people I meet at the country club, none of them are, brand new in business. They're all in different industries, and just the mentality is way higher when you surround yourself with people, and, being part of these, high-end groups. It's an easy way to surround yourself with higher level of thinking, for sure.
Great way to raise private money too, because if you're paying $30,000 to join a country club, guess what? Everybody else in that country club also pay money to get in there, so they have cash.
Big time.
So I think sometime in 2017, Dennis was my business partner in the wholesaling and the real estate business at the time. We were looking to get into a Ferrari and a Lambo. Mm-hmm. Number one, we love those cars. So we both love cars. I like the Ferrari. He's the Lambo kind of guy. But it was with a purpose. We were both joining the clubs, the Lambo club and the Ferrari club. Why is that? Because those guys, they had to buy those vehicles to get in the club. And at the time, we were raising crazy amounts of private money. So we figure if we can find these guys that are driving the same vehicles, number one, we have something in common, which is the car, right? We both like cars. Number two, these are high net worth individuals. For the most part, you always get the one that, buys the car, but they don't have money to pay rent, right? So, but the majority of them, they will have a high net worth. So it's the same principle. We're just buying into communities, and not necessarily real estate related communities.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the real estate communities may bring bad habits, right? The lender that wants to loan you at 10% as opposed to maybe 4 or 5%. So you tap into a whole different animal when you go outside of real estate and mastermind with people like that. So 100% I get it. It's a great strategy for raising private funds. So now today, 2021, you have a big company. What are you all involved in, Donnie? Because you're in all kinds of stuff. You got a reality show that I was watching an episode. I was laughing. I mean, I think that is the number one episode from that network. It was you and your wife at the time. I guess she was your fiance. But what do you all have going on other than your real estate business?
Yeah, so I mean, we're on a TV show, and we actually just finished filming it a couple weeks ago. That is a different angle. Obviously, we wanted to do something together outside of real estate within itself. I have an education program that I spent some time in and develop the development project I'm working on is taking quite a bit of time. So, I try to leverage my time as much as possible, but, my main goal and, the moves I make is obviously for business related. The TV show is great for branding. I met a lot of, good connections through that TV network that it was 100% worth it. And, being on TV, like it's hard for me to go to a large establishment somebody not come up to me and like, yo, you're on TV, and it's just or like, you look familiar. I'm like, yeah, I'm on TV, so it's different, it's cool, and obviously it's going to prosper into different opportunities, and we're reviewing other opportunities now. Obviously, we have to wait a little bit before we can get on another network, so I'm excited for what the future holds, man, and what's going to come with that. But obviously, real estate's my baby. Love that, and going to continue to build that. But I mean, both of those just kind of align with each other. It just helps with the brand.
Your real estate education that you're offering now, what are you teaching there? Like a basic overview of what you guys
Yeah.
teach there.
So we do 9 workshops a year. So people will come fly to Dallas, and then we'll spend time with them for 2 days. And pretty much go over, the entire ends of our business and what we do and how it works, like all the way to the nitty gritty of every single detail of marketing, et cetera, to hiring, to training, retaining, building culture, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have a mastermind program where it's a 6-month program where we really work with people one-on-one. We do a couple of Zoom calls every week, and yeah, we're building that as well. So, education is kind of new to me. We just started, about a year ago, and even that, we're picking up a lot of deals from our students. People are coming in learning marketing, et cetera, et cetera. It's like we're able to do more deals now because we're, have the ability to teach other people.
Yeah, and you get first dibs, right? They're negotiating deals. They bring him through the house, and now you see him, and you're like, oh, I'll keep that one. So
Yeah, I'm gonna pay as much as anybody else, so why not sell it to me? So it works
yeah,
out.
it all stays in the house. So, and is there do you have a website to go look at your education, or is it on an invitation case by case basis?
Yeah, if you go to butterflyeffectworkshop.com, there's some information on there.
Okay, we'll make sure we put the link on the bottom on these on this podcast and on the YouTube link. So Donnie's actually going to be at the Real Estate Entrepreneurs event and Mastermind here in Houston, Texas, April 30th, May 1st and 2nd. If you want to come shake his hand, make sure you're there. I was very impressed in the last mastermind where I met you. I paid a lot of attention to how you built your business, how you were structured. We have a lot of similarities. I just don't have a TV show. I don't think I'll ever have one either. But it takes a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
To do those things, and for you guys that are tuning in and watching on YouTube, make sure you go find Donnie on all social media, on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube. I don't know. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I just don't really
Okay.
use it.
The YouTube. That's why I ask you if you have one or not. But make sure you find him, follow him, send him a message, a DM, said, hey, thank you so much for the value you provide. He does provide a lot of value. He has a group that we mentioned earlier during this podcast where they put a lot of deals. There's people out there doing, you know, what do you call it? Sponsoring, showing their businesses and services and things of that nature related to Texas. We're actually getting to be a sponsor of that group as well. And if you want to get to know him personally, if you're in Houston or in any of the surrounding areas, or if you're flying into Houston for the event, he'll be there the whole weekend. He's a very approachable guy, nice guy to hang out and talk to. I enjoyed my time with you in San Antonio big time when we met a couple of months ago. So other than that, Donnie, where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, shoot me a message on there. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, the Donovan Ruffin on Instagram, or find me on Facebook, Donovan Ruffin. Where I mean, you can Google me, try to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Google my
So
name, you'll find a lot of different ways to follow me.
awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Donnie, for being here today, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to do many, not only events with you, but deals as well, and many other things. And I'm looking forward to see you at your event. We have an event. He has an event. It's called The Event.
Yep.
It's March, what's the date?
March 23rd. Yeah, so it's a free RIA, Real Estate Investor Association. It's once a quarter. The next one's gonna be March 23rd. If you go to the dallasevent.com, you can register, and it's 100% free.
It's free. It's awesome. I'll be there. He'll be there. A bunch of other people from not only from Dallas, but I think Nick is going to be there as well. And a bunch of other guys are going to be in that event. So come on and hang out, shake hands, don't be afraid. A lot of value is going to be provided because I saw you have a lot of speakers talking that day. So
yeah, it's going to be one of the biggest ones yet. So I'm excited.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to be there. And again, thank you so much for being here today. And don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.